Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast. Ian Lindsay, thank you very much for joining us on the Scottish Property Podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having us, guys.
Great. Such a brilliant speaker as well, because we had you at the Scottish Property Podcast networking event, so we appreciate you doing that. Yep. What we're going to dive into today, guys, is Ian's got a few house building projects on the go at the moment. So new builds.
Yep.
I think we're going to touch on that quite a lot. Mm-hmm. Speak about that. You've currently got a bungalow on the go at the moment. And obviously you acquire the land and do it completely from scratch. So we'll get into the details of that. So if you're interested in new build strategy, keep listening. But first of all, Ian, let us know a little bit about yourself. Obviously, we like to get to know people a bit better as well. Right. So where did you grow up?
Hamilton boy, born and bred. So what can I say? School at Hamilton, straight A student, you know.
Straight A's?
Aye, A for absent, aye. You know, so school wasn't for me, right. I'll be honest.
When did you leave?
I fell for that and I was like...
When did I leave? No, I left the first minute I could, you know, so...
What, 16 or...?
I was still 15, technically, but, 15, you know,
right, so okay. And what did you go into from school?
School, straight into joining an apprenticeship. Okay. It was the old YTS back in the day, you know. Yeah. I loved it. Brilliant, you know. And the money was terrible in the first year too, you know. But you know, it's a bigger picture, isn't it? You know, you're
was that part like you did part college, part on the tools?
Aye,
sort
you started off. They give you a few weeks at college, you know, and then they sent you out. So I was serving my time with Balfour Beatty. You know, it's no small company. Yeah. So it was a great apprenticeship. We got a real mix of everything. You know.
What sort of buildings were you working on?
I started off working in Glasgow. So we're working in West George Street doing like insurance buildings. Then we worked. We done St Vincent Street, just off the George Square. Don't know if you know the Drum and Monkey pub. We that used to be a bank. We kitted all that out, and we done all the offices above as well. So we done that, and then from there we went into. Done a big job in Hamilton. We built the Procurator Fiscal's office, but that was from scratch. So that was all concrete shuttering.
I've always thought people that are in construction stuff, and that, you know, as you progress through life and then you go to the city centre and all that and you're walking down the street and then you look up at that building, it must trigger back memories.
Well, I'll give you one memory. Is when I was 16, I was talking to, there was a couple of labourers were kind of taking the mick out of me one day. And I got a wee bit back chatty with them. And I said to them, I says, listen, lads, here's what's going to happen. I says, see, 4 years from now, I says, my time's going to be out, and then I'm going to go and do some cool stuff. I'm going to work for myself. Where are you going to be? You're still going to be here, right? 20 seconds later, I was unconscious, right? You know, they picked me up, squeezed me till I was unconscious, right? And see, when I came in, they had me hanging upside down 6 flights up over the edge of the scaffold, you know, and they slapped my face and I came in and they're like, who's funny now? You know, so...
That was a bit of a lesson then.
Teaches you a bit of respect, you know, have a wee bit of respect for everybody, don't get a wee bit too...
you were a bit of a kind of gallus...
No, not really, but I wasn't long in answering back, you know. I didn't go looking for trouble, but sometimes you would find it, didn't you know, so...
It's quite a valuable skill set to start and join to almost oversee roughing, understanding, working with sparkies.
Yep.
Plumbers, everything. And then to go into finishes as well. Like, can you see the I suppose a bigger picture, don't you? The construction side. Well,
the second half of my apprenticeship was spent in a joiner shop, and we'd done some really high end stuff. Nice. You know, so that was really interesting. You know, so we'd get to make it, and we would get to go out on site and fit it. So
it's a dying skill set, isn't it?
Aye. So we done one. We used to work in like Edinburgh Castle, the National Libraries, and all that kind of thing.
Nice.
You know,
more bespoke stuff.
Yeah, very much so. You know, we would just have like logs coming into the yard, and then we'd have a machine shop. We would machine them all up, and then we would build, like, you name it, we built it, you know.
Not to go off topic too much, I think this is becoming a bit of a dying fucking thing. Like, you know, as we were at school, it would be what you got one choice or the other, either go to college, university, or go and get an apprenticeship. Whereas it feels like nowadays, like, let's be a YouTuber, let's go and do some in the computer games or something like that. It's almost missing that trade, that skill set, the stuff that made the whole country.
I think there's a massive opportunity for young boys or girls out there that can really take the bull by the horns. I mean, I read somewhere the other day that for every 50 guys that are leaving, there's like 7 coming in. You're thinking
but
to yourself.
You know, it's like when you've got a kid yourself, 12-year-old. I don't know if you struggle with this, but even try to get him to empty a dishwasher. Do you know what I mean? So there's definitely a mindset shift in the kind of work ethic.
I think you're right though. Like when you look at it, you'll probably go into this in the conversation, but what you're paying your trades will be more than doctors and flipping lawyers earn. But at school, you would never have been told that. Oh, by the way, actually, I can make more money than a doctor. What? You're getting told, go to university, become a doctor, and get a degree, and that'll be where your income is. Like,
the guys do well, and to be fair, I mean, I've got I can see it from their point of view as well, because I mean, as much as I don't grudge them if they put the work in and do it right, don't grudge it, because and that's what I was looking for as well.
Somebody raised that point the other day as well. This whole kind of labour thing about building the £1.5 million houses, but where is the labour come from? Because there's a shortage of.
There's a shortage.
It's all guys like me are still hanging in there doing it. You know what I mean? We're not going to be here. We're not going to be here much longer, folks. You know what I mean?
So when did you go self-employed? Then
straight away, really.
It's quite a popular route, isn't it? So you finish your apprenticeship in.
I worked. I had a wee job just actually around the corner, and it's one of the like cowboy. It was like you see on the telly. It was proper crazy. It was triads involved and everything. It was mental. You know, I was there for 3 months. You know, and we left. I could tell you a few stories about that. But
what job was this?
It was just I started with a wee guy around the corner. I mean,
what, a builder?
I wouldn't call him that, but it was like one of the kind of builder for hell programs. You know what I mean? Where he would rob folk for their money, and he would take all the merchants to the town, petrol stations, everything, running about in stolen vans, you know, but. There was a recession when I was
still going? Is business still going?
I'd be surprised if he's alive. You know. I mean, there was full.
What's this going back 20 years ago?
Oh no, Nick, this is going back. That'll be over 30 now. That's 30, but 30 years. Right. You know, so that was interesting. And then I got a job with the council for a year, but. The boss here, he just didn't like me. My face didn't fit with him, and he let me know in no uncertain circumstances. The first excuse he got, I was getting fired. So
is this doing joinery still?
Aye. So that happened, you know, and that was my first kind of crossroads you hit in life, and you kind of went, do you know what? I says, Saturday night, I'm going to work for India again, man. That's not for me.
Because of the fact he had that control of you, and you didn't like being used.
And it was just because I was a wee boy at the time, you know, the big bit of bully. But was quite funny was later on, I just found out the other month he actually get fired for that job for fraud and embezzlement and stuff like that, you know. So it's quite funny how things come round. You sit long enough, things come back round, you know. So that was quite funny. But so no, I started, but just getting myself. 22-year-old.
Okay.
Started to work myself. Me and my mate kind of hooked up for a few years on and off.
How did you get those first kind of clients in, and what were those first jobs back with the joiner?
Everything and anything. I would just take, I put advert in the paper.
Aye.
And it used to be like this, the Wishy Press, Hamilton ad, Rutherglen. And I would just run around doing anything, you know, and I worked. I mean, in those first 3 years, I was putting in between 12 and 16 hours a day for half the pay I should have been getting. You know, and just
about that name,
just to get up and get going. It takes about 3 years to get momentum back then, and this was there was really a recession back on then. It wasn't like now you could get a lot more momentum, and you've got social media and all that on your side now. That wasn't there. You had to just build. You had to build a reputation, no a brand really. It was just you had to get going, you know. So 3 years to going, and then we got a wee shot at maybe building an extension for somebody, a wee extension, and then we built up subbies who have been with us basically the whole time. The same subbies, you know. We've still got like bricklayers that are 77, they still want commuting day jobs for us and that, you know what I mean? It's brilliant.
So see, but when you start off, like, because this would be interesting to guys that are in the trades as well, because I know we've got a lot of tradesmen listening as well, you know, guys that are maybe starting out, being self-employed, say they're self-employed joiners. How do you go from that kind of just like doing like fitting doors and kitchens and all that to actually going up to the bigger projects, like you say, to doing the extensions and all that? Because that must, in the back of my mind, I'm like thinking, God, what if you fuck that up? Or what if you know, you're starting to get a bit more.
It's like every crossroads you hit. Eventually there comes a bit where you've got to go, I need to take a wee jump here and just go for it, you know. And you know, so we got to start with one wee thing, one wee extension in the street. Before we knew it, we'd built 5 in the street, and you know what I mean. And it was,
so once you've done one, you know,
but you start off with 10 metre square metre extensions before you know what you're building. You know, you're building basically half a house at the time. You know, generally our market would be maybe run up around about the £100,000 extension mark, so eventually.
Your kind of 1970s, 1960s kind of house that wasn't quite modern, an extension of a kitchen diner.
We would get in put an extension on it, and then we would do a full refurb through the house as well, and that kind of thing, So you always, and it just became word of mouth. You would always be like somebody like, oh, you done one for my sister, we're looking for the same, only a wee bit bigger than hers, and that kind of thing,
So in terms of the team for building extension, obviously bricklayers are crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, I had the same gentleman my whole career. In fact, I popped in and seen him this week. I hadn't seen him for ages.
Is he still going?
He's 77.
77,
but he's still going to come out and do a couple of wee snaggy bits for me on my job. He's brilliant. We're good mates.
He needs to come on the podcast. 77-year-old bricklayer still going, mate.
He's fit as fiddle. He's great.
That is impressive.
He's good. So there's guys out there. I mean, I've got a guy I know. It's in a bad way, and he's 73, 74. Just broke his hip. And he phoned me the other day. I've walked for crutches for the day for the first time. He's like, I'm out tomorrow.
When am I getting out?
I'm out tomorrow. No, he is. He's out.
Brilliant.
He's out. He's can't stop these guys, these old school boys, man. This is, and I think maybe some of the younger generation maybe want to take a wee bit of note. These guys were brought up. Their parents were all at war and all the rest of it. And depressions and all the rest of it. These guys were raised in that environment,
But to get to that good team, obviously, we know there's been struggles along the way with some guys. So what are the kind of common excuses along the way of when
you have with the snowflake generation?
Was it a Monday? Was it always a Monday morning, or did you never really have that problem?
We didn't have too much of a problem in the workmanship side there. Occasionally there would be the usual suspects, but the guys were maybe sometimes they were that obliging. You would let a few things go, and we all got on, but it's the same crowd, it's the same squad for years and years, so we never really juggled the squad too much. Occasionally, unfortunately, we've maybe had people that have passed away or something like that, or people have retired and you've had to replace it. But for the best part, it's been the same squad, So
you effectively became like a building company then, doing
small building extensions. We do everything for like kind of garage conversions, kitchens, extensions, but it was mainly our bread and butter was really extensions. Was
just doing that locally mainly.
Yep.
Around Hamilton.
Yeah, well, everything from Bearsden to I don't know, Falkirk. Kind of you would maybe travel that kind of distance. It's up and down the central belt.
Aye. So started that roughly early 20s?
Early 20s we started that.
What age are you now then?
I'm 52.
Right, okay. So how have you progressed? Like through that time then, was it just a case of you operated that and then when did it start changing into like more kind of doing your own stuff and building your own houses and all that?
COVID.
Was that the crossroads?
That was it.
Hit you? Yeah.
Well, 2017, I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say that I hit burnout.
Right,
just working too much,
just went at it. I've worked just too hard and worked hard and played hard my whole life, and just
put that in perspective for people. Like, what did burnout look like for you?
It's not pretty. Yeah, I'll be honest.
Mental health, bad state.
Aye, I let myself go. Took about just over a year really to start working on that. Nice. And then I started really getting quite deep. I was like, this has got to change. Something's got to change here. This is affecting everybody. What are we going to do? I get right into quite deep into personal growth. Nice. And really, I've not stopped since. Just a lot of things I've stopped doing. Turned the news off. I've really turned the telly off, to be honest. I don't watch telly anymore.
How hard was that in the environment that you're working in?
It's very hard because nobody you can talk to.
Nobody can talk to. I was waiting to say.
Like, nobody you can talk to. I'm more comfortable talking about it now. I've been through it and come out the other side.
Because obviously speaking to you lately, and I've got to know you a wee bit. You are a very positive person now.
I try to be.
You with the elastic band strategy as well, which we can get onto as well. Dishing out, he's got these elastic bands that he dishes out to people. And every time you have that kind of bad thought or that kind of I can't do that, you give it a ping, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I came across that. It was. I'd kind of decided 2019 I'd really need to do something about this, and I started reading up stories, and I was reading up on professional sports people, and one of the techniques that they've got is they've got this, anytime they think, because everybody's got these voices in their head, I can't do this, this is too hard, this is for other people, blah, 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 so they've got this thing, they say, right, I can't win this race, or I can't go up that hill, or I can't jump that far, or whatever. They've got that kind of, you get a wee kind of ping, it's got to kind of hurt a wee bit, and it sends a wee signal to your brain, and what you're really doing is you're reprogramming your subconscious, because you've got your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, so you're really sending a signal to You know, and I used it to really begin with when I was being kind of grumpy all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm coming in every night and the Wayne's like, there's grumpy daddies in, you know, and I've just become known as that. And I was like, oh God, I need to do something. So every time I was kind of grumpy or angry or whatever I would do, I started off, it was an anger management really to start off with, you know, and it get good results pretty quick. And I'm thinking, right, okay, this is kind of working strangely enough, you know, and I says, right, what else can I do?
Do you mind dwelling on that mental health period, you know, that bad period in your life for a wee bit? Because I think it will help people.
Okay.
You know, like how bad, I mean, we're talking depression here to the point where what, you weren't able to get to work or...
No, I've never made my work.
You were still going in there, but you were getting angry, you were getting people around you, like your family, just...
Everybody's getting it, you know.
Weren't present or...
No, 100%. You know,
anything else?
No, just everybody's. It's just no fun to be around. You know, it's just become.
What was the wake up call? Was it your missus that gave you the ultimatum, or the kids saying?
No. I think just the way, maybe the Wayne called me grumpy daddy all the time wasn't too clever. You know what I mean?
And what did you put that down to? Was it too much work? Too stressed?
It's too much work, and people have. I'm not going to blame it on other people because I had my own faults as well. But as the years have went on, people have got harder to please.
Yeah.
Customers? Yes, customers. It's got harder for 30 years ago. And I remember maybe even like 10, 15 years ago, I was speaking to a good friend of mine and we were talking about this and he said, Ian, it's Amazon. Amazon's to blame for us because everybody just expects everything tomorrow for the cheapest price, the best condition, and building can't always work that way. It's the three things you're always looking for in a builder or a tradesman is reliability, price and quality. You know, pick two.
Yeah.
You know,
were you just bending over backwards?
I always try to. I mean,
please people.
Aye, and it was getting quite hard. I mean, it sounds terrible. I mean, it was 27 years in business, and I think we had 5 customers that didn't end well with.
Yeah.
You know, kind of. But there was.
What does that mean when you say didn't end well?
Well, not just customers that weren't satisfied. There was just things. I mean, and sometimes people would just lose their mind over like a millimetre gap on between kitchen units. You know, and other times it's kind of understandable. You go, do you know what? You know, maybe it's something like that plaster's all cracked, and it's, you know, maybe things have dried out and it's cracked, and you're like, oh, and people just go absolutely mental, and you try to explain to them the technicalities of it, but they don't wear it. It's just like
I had a similar thing once, and it was my brother. My brother's a self-employed joiner, didn't it? Similar way to you. As soon as his time went to himself, and I was finishing a commercial residential project, and I had a guy that I met at a stag doing knitting me. Can you come and do work at my house? And I said, mate, I didn't do work for anybody, just my own stuff. I saw you doing on social media. Can you just do my kitchen for me? And I kept saying no, and he convinced me. And I took my brother along to price it. And my brother says, his missus is a fucking nightmare. Do not go near this. And I goes, no, met him at a stag do. He's a fucking alpha. He'll put his missus in place. He'll get a tell.
No,
and my brother said to me, and I took it on. And I just settled him out of court like literally fucking 6 months ago.
Oh, really?
Like, went that far.
Did you ever have to go to court, Ian?
Or twice we got in a position that we could have, but I just walked away from it. You know.
So you came out at a loss.
Oh,
you didn't get the money.
I've added it up. I've kept mental count of that over the years. I reckon probably about 5%. 5% over the years.
What does that equate to in terms of monetary value?
I don't know, over 30, 27 years you add it up. 27 years wages, 5%. If you put 5% down to loss, people at the end don't want to put, you know, you tend to do a job for somebody, they get to the end.
Isn't it?
Well, it just happens, you know what I mean? It just happens, and they don't see it the same way you see it.
You factor that into the cost now going forward, you know what
they want you to do the extras for nothing. A lot of the time it's always electrics, funnily enough. I think because there's these wee boxes, these size, and they see them in Screwfix for £2.50 that they think you should be charging them £2.50 to put a socket in, when in reality they're asking for 600 quid's worth of extra electrics or something like that.
What would be your top tips to the young people starting out if they're self-employed trades in terms of trying to avoid these situations? What could you advise them to do? The things that you picked up over, you know,
I think maybe more clarity. Maybe get a contract.
Contract,
you know what?
Things written down.
I always went in a handshake. You know, I'm that kind of guy. I went in a handshake. Maybe that's not the right thing. Maybe things should be really written down a bit more. It doesn't need to be maybe just an A4 bit of paper and say blah 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 blah. Here's what we're coming in to do. Here's what you expect for us. Here's what we expect for you. If there's any extras, you know, it's over and above, you know. And sometimes we would do extras for people, no charge them for nice people and all the rest of it, you know. But that happened a lot, you know. But a lot of time people would want to pay for stuff, you know. And you've got the wife going mental. Why are we paying for everybody else's house? That was a regular conversation, you know. You know, so that happened quite a lot.
Talk to that time frame as well. Like, I'm assuming going into personal development.
Yep.
Just before COVID was a good thing to get your mind sorted.
I think so.
Going in that depression state.
I think
COVID.
so. I think so, because I'd spent a year on it.
Yeah.
You know, I read that I've no stopped reading.
Is it books then? When you talk about
everything.
What kind of things really helped, like shift that needle?
What kind of things really helped? Really just all that. I found some of the like Napoleon Hill. I don't know if you've come across Napoleon Hill literature. I found him really inspiring.
What was the title of that book so listeners can read these books?
Well, you'll think of all the famous ones. Like
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, you've got that one, you know what I mean? But the 16 Laws of Success and all that kind of thing, that's quite good. But one that really I quite like is Outwitting the Devil. How to Outwit the Devil. And it's basically the devil gets put on trial. And it's the audiobook version's good because it's the devil's voice. And it's like, you know, and you hear one.
What does the devil sound like? I
know, it's quite good. And he tells you, you know, what he does to stop you if you get into where you want to go. And if you want the shortcut of that, go into, because I've done it, go into Chat GPT and just type in.
Get a summary.
And just type in, what would the devil do to stop you being successful? And then type in, what actions could I take to be successful? And if you just don't do they ones and do they ones, I think you're pretty much guaranteed success. There's a shortcut. I've read the books 100 times. I've spent 5 years doing it. That's the shortcut if you want it. You know?
Did anyone get you into that? Because previous to that, you didn't do any of that sort of stuff, right?
No.
So
how did you come across
these things?
Just YouTube. I'm a YouTube fiend. Right. Certain people I've come across on YouTube that I've been following for years. You know, people I've spotted and I've said, you've got it, mate. You're going to be big. And they've went for nothing to being now billionaires. You know, and it's like, you know.
Is there any other like resources? It could be books, podcasts.
It's books. It's basically books, podcasts, and YouTube. That's the three main
for the listeners, because it is always good to share.
I found a chap online, Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah.
I found his old content. He's more moved into media now and that kind of thing. But I found his old business content really good. If you go back and really do his stuff in 2016 to early 2020s.
Come across it.
Yeah, I found his business content was really good, and that really helped me. Talks about things like
the Iranian guy that came over to America.
So I found him quite inspirational, and he talks about certain things like doubles games. You know, if you've got £1,000 to invest, you're only 10 doubles away from $1 million, and that's the way I kind of look at it now. You know, so you've got like 2. If you double it, you've got 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 125, 250. You know, 500 a mil. You know, so
your maths is pretty good.
It's not bad, mate. It's not bad. It's not bad.
I was struggling to keep up there.
That's why you knew you got bumped by fucking 5%.
I'm still at.
Don't ask me to spell. I'm spelling's terrible. But the way I look at it now is, you know, you could have a deal. Like, say for talk's sake, it's a new build deal. You know, you could maybe bring 125 to the table, but you could pull 250 out. You know, can you? And then the way I'm looking at it now is I think, right, okay, you're building up this kind of war chest and you can do that, bum. But what I quite find now, I'm turning my attention to more like commercial stuff. And you can see how, we all know the commercial guys that have done the clever projects, they can do a 500 in project, but that value's up at $1 million. So there's your level 10 projects, maybe the new I'm at kind of level 7, level 8.
Right.
But I'm hanging about with the level 9, level 10 guys, and they're showing you how to do it.
So was this the listening to that, developing your mindset, and then obviously COVID came in, just that kind of crossroad you're talking about, and it's like, I'm going to do my own stuff.
I got to a point where I'm 7th of April 2019, standing in my bedroom, I remember it well, and I just thought, right, that's it. I'm going down. I'm going to. I just know I've got more in me.
Yeah.
And you know, I've got more in me than what I should have moved on a long time ago for what I did. You know, we get very close into building new builds back in 2007, and we just dodged that bullet. And then you get scared and you go,
I was lucky.
I was lucky there. Missed that one, and you run away back into your comfort zone and do what you're good at. You know. So to be honest, I probably stayed in doing what I was doing for 10 years too long. I would say that to anybody. You know, sometimes you just get comfortable. I think soon as you become really comfortable doing something, that's when you really need to think about maybe moving on a wee bit. You know, if
that's a good takeaway. The amount of people, do you ever listen to that guy? I take the piss out of him with my son last night. Actually, I was because he's on TikTok a lot, and there's a guy called Simon Squid or Simon Squib.
I'm not a big fan of his.
No, I'm not either. But I was chasing him around the room with a mic saying, "Have you got a dream?"
Aye.
Because he goes out in the street.
Aye.
What's your dream?
Aye.
Like that. Because he was starting to piss me off a wee bit. I was like, mate, you need to have some ambition here. What's your dream? Like that. And he's like, that's Simon Squid. But I think that the good thing about it is that the content is quite interesting because loads of people are like that. Yeah, I'd love to open up my own coffee shop one day or something. Like, what's stopping you?
Yep.
And that's exactly what you're talking about.
You got to set goals. You got to set goals. Goal setting's been massive for me.
Right.
That's been good. And I think that's what I was going back to that day. What I basically said, I'm going to set some goals. I remember just looking, and there was a Sharpie marker sitting, and I just had this brainwave. I thought, right, I need to do it. I just took the Sharpie marker out, and I just wrote on the bedroom wall. And I just thought, I thought financially free in 1 year, make it happen. And I thought, there we go, it's done. You know, the wife.
Which bedroom was it?
My bedroom.
Your bedroom.
Fucking freaked out.
What did your wife say?
She came up, she's going, what the hell you doing?
Is it quite big?
Oh, aye. It's about,
Imagine that.
maybe about 3 feet. So every morning I get out of bed, right? I get out of bed, and the first thing you see is this staring at you, and you go, oh, I need to do something. Because you've got to
It's quite powerful. Like,
aye.
Sharpie as well. You can't even get rid of
the thing
that.
with goals is, goal setting is you've got to make a goal, make it something that's going to be achievable. You know what I mean? No, like I'm going to make £1 million in 2 days. You know what I mean? That kind of, you know, but say, right, okay, I'm going to get financially free in the next year. How can I do that?
Right, I'm going to stop you there before you move on. Financially free, this is a word that we hear a lot, or words that we hear a lot. And it means a different thing to lots of different people. To you, what did that mean then when you wrote that down?
It means enough to cover the bills.
Yeah. And so basic financial freedom, not luxury, not your holidays, not your cars, just...
No, enough to pay the bills, enough that everybody's got, the lifestyle's going to stay as is, you know, but no fancy motors and holidays and all that kind of thing, but enough that we're all not going to starve, and it's all going to be paid, and that's going to let me turn my attentions to other things.
Yeah. And at this point, you've got like, you know, like most of us probably like, what is it, like a mortgage, car payments, utility bills, food? No,
I don't have that.
Don't? Lucky.
No. What I did was when I was coming up through my 30s, I decided to pay down rather than invest. So anytime I had a spare grand, bang, mortgage off.
Right.
I had a mortgage for about 8 years. Paid it off. I just bought a wee house, renovated the house, built a big extension on the house. So I doubled the size of it, trebled the size of the house.
Have you used your equity in the house at all for investing?
No. There's a great book by
financial freedom figure would have been nicely achievable in a year to go. Well, no mortgage, with no car payments.
Aye.
Right.
Aye.
Let's take a quick break, guys, from today's show to talk about selling your property with Prime Property Auctions. Now, myself and Stephen have both used John and Lewis from Prime in the past, and we can personally vouch for their service. They sell vacant and tenanted property, and you get to control the minimum reserve price so that you're not selling your property for peanuts. They pay for all the stuff like photos, videos, and all the marketing stuff up front, so you're not paying anything from the start, and it's a no sale, no fee. So if you want to check out Prime Property Auctions, then get across to the link on the show notes and speak to the guys.
Because I'm self-employed, you know, you're always wondering where your next meal's coming from. You know, so I was always kind of brought up very much, you know, all debt's bad, you know, and you know, and
if you can't afford it, then you buy it.
Aye. If you can't afford it, you don't get it. You know, and that was the kind of way I was brought up. You know, but it wasn't until I really started getting more into the business side of things, I think, well, all debt isn't bad. You know, it's kind of there is good debt out there. You know, if you're sensible about it. You know, and
so you're out with the Sharpie then. Just visualising this.
Yep. I like this.
You've set your goal.
Yep.
So how do you make the next step to actually achieving the goal?
We'd already got.
The missus punches in the heat every morning.
What did she say? That?
She shook her head. She knows me well.
Did she see you go down this route of like watching all these YouTube videos? You were like, did you kind of start? Did you start changing from that point? Like, I think change that person?
I think probably she got a wee bit annoyed because I absolutely gave up TV altogether, and I'm 100%. I mean, I don't watch TV anymore. And she's like, we need to sit down and watch TV together. I'm like, no, sorry.
Right.
I'm like, no, sorry. I need to watch this Kiyosaki video and all that. You know, and I'm like, I'm just, you know. So if I do something, I do it 100% and just go at it, and you know, that's really been 5 years. I've not stopped. You know.
And did she buy into it eventually? Like?
Aye. But you know, it's still, I've eased up a wee bit now. I'm starting to lift off the pedal.
Did you become quite obsessive? Because I know this is quite a common trait amongst like
entrepreneurs.
I've got an obsessive nature. I think you've talked about it as well. You get an idea and you're like,
and I think you've got to watch, because there's different aspects to your life. And there's like the business. It's very easy for us kind of guys to just throw yourself 100% into the, you know, you can maybe let your lifestyle go, your health side, your relationship side. There's a balance there, and it doesn't matter which one you concentrate on the most. One's going to go up, one's going to go down.
Some will be affected. Yeah,
something's going to be affected. You know, and sometimes the relationships you kind of go, oh, do you know what? I'm maybe a bit guilty here. I'm letting that go. Maybe take me ease up on the business side, bring it back down a wee bit, and concentrate on.
I'm guilty of that.
We all are. It's such a hard balance at times.
I was finding the balance. I spoke about this a lot this year. Was like reshifting it back onto spent so much time focusing on the business that I let myself go for the last 4 or 5 years physically, like putting on weight, feeling unfit. And so turned it around. But so on a Sunday night, my routine for growing the business was Sunday night would be my routine where I'd be sitting, I'd come up with my social media posts, I'd come up and I'd skip them all like that. Done for the week. There it's clear. Now, I was like, I've never seen on social media, you know, any fucking posting. Because on Sunday nights now, I'm prepping sweet potato and fucking chicken on a Sunday night. So it's weird how your obsessiveness just changes to go, well, I need to balance that back out. The business can take a backseat to a certain extent. So that's, because what was it somebody says as well, like there's no such thing as work-life balance. It's fucking trying to juggle each one and just
spinning plates.
There's a video that keeps on getting thrown up in my Instagram reels, and I don't know if it's because it's like, it's sussed me out because the algorithm's so good, isn't it? Like it can tell what you're into, what your age is, what you're looking at, and it's like it's a bit of content somebody's made, like one of these kind of like you know, the average 45-year-old.
You're going to say that.
The average 45-year-old has only got, you know, 30 years left, years left of your life, and then it starts splitting it into how many weekends that is, and then how many Saturdays that is, and then you start thinking, fuck, man. And that's like the best years have almost gone. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, your fittest years. I'm like, shite. And then it puts things in perspective, and then I kind of go on this mad guilt trip. I'm like, right, fuck, I'm not doing that. Not doing that tonight. I'm cancelling this, you know, not that I work weekends, but I have been guilty of like, you know, a property might stick on the letting side of things like that, and I'm like, we need to get this one fucking rented. Like, let's book in viewings at the weekends. Before you know it, I'm out on a Saturday morning. I'm like, guys, I'll be back in a couple of hours. You're like, fuck, at that point in time, I should be taking my wee 6-year-old, which is mad football, to the park. You know, that time we're not getting back, and then it like hits you.
What I did was I made a promise to myself when I hit 40, I was giving up weekends. And that's pretty much I've been good to that, you know. My wee boy came when I was 39, and I think that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made. You know, never noticed a big difference financially or anything, you know, and it's just occasionally you've got to get into a wee bit here and there, but you know, but that was a good decision. Just no day weekends, you know, and that's freed me up. I've got things I do every weekend now. It's really good.
Do you enjoy going to work?
I do. So
that's another thing that's hard, isn't it? Because you're like, I will actually enjoy this. So like, you know, when people say, what you doing working weekends? Well, I enjoy it.
I enjoy the actual building it, but you know, it's the only bit I don't enjoy is when you get somebody's difficult. You know.
So that's what's changed for you now, isn't it? Because the majority of your time now is spent doing your own projects.
Oh, I'm 100% really. Almost 100%.
Still doing the odd thing.
So, but no, not in residential.
Right.
I only do things now for people that I like or a project I find interesting.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's not about the money usually.
Client you want to work with.
You know, for instance, I done. It was this year. I was talking to Andy and Chris, the Brightstone guys. You know, and we were playing. I'd been through and seen the Falkirk project, and I said that's quite interesting. I can see how this would work. And you know, I was talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just trying to get quotes together and blah 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 blah." And I says, well, listen, I'll come down and help you if you want. I'll come down and just get you a quote together. So I'm too busy. I says, because I've got a project kicking off. I says, but if you want me to do a quote for you, you know, and says that to help you out, that way you've got a wee kind of reference. And he's like, aye, okay. So I did that.
Just people that you know that are good people, do good things. You're like, you kind of like, in a way, you're like, oh, kind of like, you know, it'd be good to be part of that project as well, because it's a great building. So,
you know, Chris came back with his biggest petted lip and batting his baby blue eyes and said, listen, you want to get into this? And my project had been pushed back a wee bit with planning, and I said, "Doc, do you know what? Aye, all right, I'll come in and do it for you. You know, come in and we went and kitted most of that place out for him." But I thought that's not bad.
His big blue eyes that got you.
It was, mate. It was.
Who could listen to this?
Who could resist? Who could resist? You know, but no. Those guys are great, you know, and I knew they would be easy to work for, and I thought, do you know what? Commercial is really one of the things I'm really looking at next. And I thought, it wouldn't do any harm to, if you want to get to know what's happening there,
around that fire.
Let's go build one. You know, and you can see what's happening. You can see the kind of feedback you're getting. That's good. Interest, you know, and that was good.
We go back to COVID times then.
Yes.
Talk about this crossroad line. What was your first project you took on yourself, and how did you kind of come about? How did you think? Did you have to use the elastic band trick to go like, I do this ping?
Oh, aye. Snapping them right, left and centre, you know. But it depends what kind of projects you want to talk about. There was for when I wrote on the wall, I had 3 projects that I wanted just BRRs. But
you didn't at this point. You didn't have any property. You had your own home.
No.
You had your home.
No. I'd started building. 2014.
Oh, you had some properties.
Aye. I'd started building.
That's right. I remember.
Aye.
What did you have at that point then?
Well, the first one was quite entertaining. First one we got was just a wee 2-bed, 4-block council one. Now we talked about this briefly at the Glasgow one, but I'll be honest, I kind of toned things down a wee bit out of politeness,
This was at the networking.
We're getting the real version now,
don't
guys.
tone it down now.
Right.
Let rip.
Right. Well, we actually bought the first investment property off a paedophile.
All right. We've all been there. Fucking go for that now.
So
pretty grim, but continue.
But it was I knew people on the street and I knew the guy's situation. He was going to jail,
right.
So we got a wee low ball offer in there. But the only problem was with buying that property.
Right.
People thought I was that guy,
Getting tarnished with the fucking brush.
So I had 3 guys come in one day, wanted to drag me out of the house, and they'd obviously been day drinking as well. And I tried to explain to them. I was like, says, listen, guys. It says, I'm no that.
Did you get this off market? So there's no like anybody saw.
No, it was on market,
right,
but I don't know. I don't think they knew.
No, just paid attention. They just fucking.
That was to say that one came with a bit of baggage then.
Aye, and to be honest, we had that for 10 years, and it just always seemed to have baggage. I just get rid of it recently.
Do you think because of the fact that small, I suppose, towns like that, people know there's that flat's got the pedo in it.
Aye,
and it doesn't matter if it's been sold, changed the owner.
Aye, so that was a wee bit. I was like, I thought I was getting a bleaching that day. But so that was fun. But
it's interesting to say that you went into it in 2014 because I thought you were talking about your story, like going into kind of the personal development that happened in 2017, 18, 19 kind of age, but you've kind of thought of this financial freedom.
I started before that. I obviously started. I think the trigger was when becoming a father. You go, do you know what? I think it's time we started going away for the earned income and really looking at building a bit of legacy here.
And was that just like accumulated profits that you'd built up in the business?
Yes.
That's good. And then started buying the buy-to-lets.
I bought a few buy-to-lets, and we just decided, what do we need to do to get financially free? We need another 3 needs to get 3 decent deals. So
by the end of that year,
so we just crashed on bravely with that. We did some interesting stuff. We did a wee commercial with Resi project, a no money down deal.
Nice.
That worked quite well. A friend of mine was getting rid of it.
Was that in Hamilton?
Aye. It's actually the building right next door to Stephen Gallagher's place.
That's right.
So it was the same guy that was selling that. It's my friend of mine. So we did that.
Not a story about the bins or something like
that? No, it's just that. It's just that. Aye. It's winding Stephen up.
Yeah.
Aye. But we did that. That was a great wee project. So there was no money down for that one. We went in and done the refurb.
When you say no money down, because obviously people's ears, people start paying attention when it's no money down. Mm-hmm. Can you just describe how that works for you?
Gentleman's agreement. It's just we agreed a figure of 3,995.
And who was the seller then?
A friend of mine.
Okay.
He owned the whole corner of the 3 tenement buildings. He'd already converted 4 of them, but this was the last one. I think he just ran out of time and money and patience, and this one was the hardest one to do, I think, because we had to knock the full closed wall down and remove it and all that. It was quite a lot of structural work in it.
And what did that convert into?
A 2-bed flat.
Right.
Okay. And did you pay him on completion of the refinance at the back end?
I had an unencumbered property, and as we started that, I thought, I don't want to mess my boat at the end. Let's get that one. We'll get that one done, and we'll just move this one to the one that's unencumbered. Right. At the end, So the money was there from when we finished. So we went in, did the full works. I'd been on a training course as well at one point, and there was a few wee tips there where you say, right, get the interest-free credit cards, and we did that. We got that 6-month interest-free, bought the materials on the credit cards.
Cue Stephen about the benefits of property education.
So
I mean, did that help you? I mean, all joking aside, did that give you a good?
It did. It was just a weekend course kind of thing, you know what I mean? But it didn't do me any harm, and I think I needed a wee kick up the arse at that point. So it was something I just kind of went and. You find something, start doing something,
Is that successful then? What did you make out of that?
What
what was the exit for that? Sorry.
Well, we rented it for a few years and just recently sold it because I sold two of our unencumbered properties. We sold to get the funding started on the current project.
But did you do all right out of it?
It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't mega bucks, but it was okay. It was all right. It was worth doing.
Mm. But are you obviously, I don't think the buy-to-let really excites you though, does it?
I quite like it. Does it? I'm still going to go down and do more. We picked one up this year. It's been a really good one.
Right, so you're still building that portfolio. You still see the value in buy-to-let.
Absolutely. I think it's the kind of foundation.
Good long-term.
So after that first year when you kind of Sharpie achieved. Did you score it or did you fucking paint it?
No, I've got a wee video. My wee boy, he went on and done. He scored it, meant done, and wrote the date on it. We achieved it, and that.
Did you write another name below it without painting it?
What's that?
Did you write another goal below it for the next goal?
No. But what I do, no, because it took 15 coats of paint to paint over that. You know what I mean? No. I've got a note now where I keep it and read it every day.
So after that, what was that kind of next goal? You kind of got the back. Let's just.
The next goal was really to raise money, and you know, I always had kind of new build at the back of my mind, and I thought, right, okay, and it was a Sunday night. I said, I'm going to start raising money and maybe do some more buy-to-lets. So I spoke to a couple of guys, a couple of tradesmen that I know that have done all right, and they were like, all right, ping it over to me, have a look at it.
These are guys like friends of yours that you think have got some money, maybe that they want to invest.
I know they've got money because I keep paying them it all the time. You know what I mean? So so I'm maybe speaking to them, and they're like, maybe, because you were getting 0 point nothing in the bank at that time, and so I'm talking to a friend of mine about it on the phone one night, and he went, I'm interested in that, because this is a guy I've been friends with for like 20, 25 years, and he says, I said, I'll ping it over to you now then, and he went, right, okay. He says, what's you looking for? And I says, well, maybe thinking about 10 grand, just to put into the buy-to-let. And he says, right, well, I've got, I'm going to say an undisclosed sum, but it's lottery money sitting in cash.
I think I squeezed it out of you on the network night, but you don't need to. I don't know. I'm terrible for pushing you, but it was a good chunk.
You just accumulate it.
I don't want to speak too much about his situation, but you would never have known. Just an average guy I've known for donkey's years. He never mentioned it once.
What hardened?
Just being sensible.
Surprise,
it did. Aye. So I said, look, mate. He says, there's other things we could be doing. We could maybe be doing new build and that. He says, right, cool. Put me down for 100 grand. So that took me 5 days to raise £100,000 just by asking.
Nice.
But I think, when I got that at 22, you've got 25 years
just experience
behind you, and he's known your story. They've seen your story growing up, and they've seen you doing flips, and they've seen you got the buy-to-let portfolio, and you've made it all work. And
I've seen you graft, and I've seen you put effort, and I've seen the type of person you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just actually was on the phone with him last night, where he's in for another 100 grand in this one as well. So
brilliant.
So
and that's just through building up that relationship, delivering.
That I always say to people, everyone's got.
Aye.
Everyone's got, like everyone knows someone. Don't think they know someone. I grew up with no money. I grew up with no friends, family. But the minute you start asking people, the minute you start putting it out there, somebody's got money that you know.
You have to have some results, but first, you have to go out and do something. That's the hard bit. It's getting the momentum, isn't it?
Was that hard to ask that question to these guys? Like actually asking for the money, or
no, I don't think so.
You can't just text them saying, "Got any money you want to invest?" How do you start saying, "Look, I'm doing this," and kind of educating them?
What I did was it's framing, isn't it? Like you've seen, there's 0.1%.
I had a family put £10,000 into one of the buy-to-lets. It was just a vanilla buy-to-let, and I said, "Look, here's what we could do." I says, "If you want to put £10,000 in, I'll give you a sub 7% return." This is when you get nothing in the bank. And I says, "Your money can come back out." I says, "If you leave it in for 3 years, let me build it up a wee bit." And I said, that's fine, but they've never brought it back out. They're quite happy just getting that.
Was that a strategy you learnt on the training course, or
no? I just thought it myself. Just came up with it myself. I just thought, do you know that kind of worked there? And I thought, do you know what? It's really hard to go around and get this golden unicorn or this BRR and pull all your money out deal. How hard is it to leave 10 grand?
I don't think it's framing the mindset though, because like think about it from the private investor finance. Like you're doing them a favour. They don't know how to do a BRR. They don't know how to get their money back out of a buy-to-let. They don't know how to do a new build development. So you give them 100 grand and you give them 107 back. He's not making 7 grand in the bank.
So I love paying them back. It's one of my favourite bits of doing the project. See me, you pay them back with the interest, and they go, "Oh wow, man!" They're just saying that's my car payment. It's brilliant, magic.
So for the guys listening, this is obviously about raising private investor finance. It's also referred to as angel investing. I hate that term, angel investing. But anyway, it's about getting money off people that are obviously happy to invest in your projects for a fixed return.
But we do treat that money like Russian mafia money. You can't be blasé with it. We know that if that one of the projects was to get hit with a meteor, that we've got enough equity that we can raise to pay that back.
I said this recently, I only got good at numbers, like really fucking good at numbers, when I started using other people's money. See, when I use my own money,
you're a bit more.
I'm blasé. It's cool. I'll figure that out. You talked about a little bit off here. The 5 grand problem, I'll find the 5 grand. The minute it's somebody else's number, everything's factored in, and the more I'm like, I'm not fucking losing this money. Like this is safer houses.
You were showing off for your maths here, so you quite consider yourself quite good with numbers in a spreadsheet.
I'm alright. I've got my calculator with me. I'm alright, you know.
But obviously you're looking at it and you're taking other people's money and you're thinking to yourself, right, this needs to work. You know, like
the first one was a wee bit scary. I'll be honest.
What does that allow you to do then? That 100 grand. Then what does that then let you go and do for that first?
What do you mean?
So when you got that money off your mate, what did you then go and do with it?
Well, we kind of finished. It was really the kind of second phase of a build. We'd already put our own money into the build,
right?
You know,
so you started with your own money.
I'm a big believer.
First
first one,
which was got from refinancing some of the existing property,
and some savings,
and some savings, and that was your very first new build.
Yes.
So where was this one?
They're all been in the same place. We're doing it just outside Les Mahago.
Right. Nice.
So I was just sitting during COVID, and I guess this is probably a good tip for maybe some estate agents. I always go up and down. I used to anyway. Go up and down and chat the doors and say, "Here's who I am. I've bought off you before. I'm still buying. Keep me on your your list." They don't. They treat you like a residential buyer, and if you have not bought anything within 2-3 months, they don't stop sending you things. Apart from there's one agent that keeps sending me stuff, and now I've now bought land off them. I've bought houses off them. I've sold with them. You know, just
going
purely because they keep sending me stuff. I say, look, I'm no leaving. I'm here for the long term. Yeah. Just keep sending me anything you think's of interest. Keep picking them. So they sent me this plot of land, and I went, oh, that's quite interesting. And I went, oh, right, okay. And I thought, I just bought a house that week. I thought, I can't buy a house and a bit of land that week. So I left it, and then they sent me again about a month later, and I thought, that's still no sold. And it was during COVID, and I thought, I'm going to go do another wee look at this, just to see. And it was good.
If you type in, if you're on the Scottish Property Podcast Facebook group, and you type in Ian Lindsay, I think you posted a few videos actually
I might have,
of that first one finished.
I did.
A walkthrough, and it was really nice, lovely house, lovely spot, and good finish as well. So, can you share like high level numbers on that one, or
I don't want to share too much numbers now because I've obviously got a live deal going on just now. You know, so
but that first one that's been and gone, isn't it?
The land plot, how much was that?
We only paid about 60 grand, 62 grand.
Exactly, your savings and your refinancing the backlight portfolio to buy out cash.
We'd put out some cash on the equity, maybe buy the land. Then we had some savings to get the ball rolling on the, on the build.
Then did you start with development finance? Was this when you brought on your mate's 100 grand?
I just brought my mate.
Right.
My mate, so I've never used any first tier lenders or that yet. Right. It's all been, but that being said, I've been contacted in the last couple of weeks because I put a wee post up on the podcast. And Bank of Scotland contacted me and said,
Adam Rintoul on your case,
and they said we want to back you.
Yeah,
and it's quite interesting because I've got people bringing me plots of land now as well, which is interesting. So I think once you get a wee ball rolling on one strategy.
What are we doing wrong, mate? Because we sit here every month.
I get no opportunities for the podcast anymore.
We're all going to our guests.
They love it. They love it though.
Everyone's just presuming that we don't need any opportunities. Listen, reach out to Ian. Go and have a look what he's doing because it's good.
But what I find that fascinating about Ian is it's not as out of reach as you would think.
Yeah,
like to come across 60 grand is not the biggest obstacle to get, and then obviously then your mate's 100 grand that you're getting that. I mean, you've got the skill set, you're bringing it in. But when you went to appraise that deal to start with, how did you do your build costs? And did you do it based on how much you would do it for?
I know I've been building extensions for years, so I know the square meterage.
Square meterage.
I just based it on square meterage, So I'm thinking,
did that make the deal stack up from the point of view, like I don't know, just say if you were quoting a customer for you make your profit margin, you were saying 2.5 grand a square meterage, but I know I can build it for 1,200.
Aye.
Did you when you're doing that based on your build costs, is that where your profit margin is coming in, or could somebody else come and look at that site, build it on your quote, and still make a profit margin on the houses?
Somebody that's not in the trade, you mean? Yeah, you still could do that. I think where you could make the profit is making your money on the way in is going to be really important. I think if you can find a bit of land that doesn't have planning on it, it's got services nearby, and you get the planning on it, that's when you're going to get the massive gain. And that's going to give you the money to hire somebody like me to come in and do the job. And don't try and project manage it yourself if you've never done it before. You really need somebody that's been doing it for years. Because I'm not kidding, it's like every day there's problems, every day without fail. You're firefighting every day.
Talk us through some problems in the first one.
On the first one, right? Well, the first one...
there's always someone in there.
The first one was structural. The ground kind of run a wee bit, and it's not. You don't really get You know, you don't really get a sense of how much it was running until you start to dig, you know, and then it was too much. It was nothing at one end and it was 8 feet at the other by the time you start digging out. So structural engineers like stop the bus, we had to rejig it, we had to put in like 4-foot founds with 4 layers of mesh through it, and then bring the mesh up the cavity and to make it and then we had to fill it with concrete in the cavity. And you can only build up so far, and then you've got to fill it behind. I had to do it behind. It took me 2 weeks to mix all this concrete and pour it in. So
with a cement mixer?
Aye.
Oh my god!
Because you can't hire a jigger because it's only like a square 1.5 square meters. It's going to cost you a fortune.
When you're getting technical here, this is builder's talk.
Aye.
I'm thinking to myself, surely you just get the truck comes in with that spout thing that just drops the concrete
no, in this situation, because you can only build so high per. You know, you've got Bricky builds it, then you backfill it, then the Bricky comes in and builds some more, then you backfill it, and you build your way up. So to build this reinforced concrete wall, you could hit with a tank, you know. So that was the first one. So they're just kind of
no wonder you've slipped a disc in your back, mate, after all that labour.
How much extra was that? And unsurprising.
Well, obviously I did a lot of labour myself, but I think it was probably about £6,000-7,000.
Yeah, but it's something you hadn't really factored.
No, I hadn't factored that into it, and that was the first one that caught me out. There was a couple of things that I really didn't know the price of, and it was really at that time the materials were just
going up.
We were kicking that off in August 2020. Do you know? And it was like, oh, what? You know, and it was just, everything was. We were sitting there and
roof trusses just doubled.
Yes, 15,000.
Let me pose a quick question to you while we're going through this, right? Because everybody, like a lot of people, like the idea of this new build stuff and all this, but realistically and honestly speaking,
yes,
if you didn't have the experience you have and the team, the trades and the rest of it, and you're doing a lot of the work yourself, can people still make this work? You know, 2024, buy a bit of land, build one house, and make it profitable.
Yes, you could. You will need to have a good team. You can't cheap out on the team. You know, that's just, you know, you're going to get guys not turning up. One guy doesn't turn up, it's a domino effect. You know.
So if you that first one that you did without going into any numbers, if you take away your sale price, your price to charge out the customer price per square meter and what you pay for the land, was a profit margin in that?
Yeah, I could have probably went in and built that for them, and they would have been up.
Yeah. Can you give us a figure, because we need something.
Well, I was talking.
20% margin, 30% margin.
I would say if you're building it and you're getting 10%, you maybe need to review your figures. Yeah. You know, and
banks won't lend you on that either.
No.
And what was the sale price of that first one?
Too cheap was the sale price of that one. That was the biggest mistake I made.
Well, go on the land registry.
No, I think it is actually.
Huh?
So
what was it?
I can't say if it's no, because I've still got other stuff coming up.
Okay.
You know, but it was too cheap. And that was the biggest.
For a bungalow, so what's that? A 4-bedroom bungalow or something like that?
4-bed bungalows we're building.
4-bedroom bungalow. What would be a good profit in terms of monetary value? For that sort of build? Could people make, what are we talking about? 50-60 grand?
No, more. Aye.
So still imagine that people can make.
I think I think we're really looking at 6 figures.
Aye,
6 figure
100 grand, right? Otherwise, it's not really worth it. So how long is it taking to build something like that realistically? If you're doing it well and you're doing it and you're efficient,
yep.
What are the time periods?
160 days.
Right.
You know, 8 to 9 months.
Okay.
You know, so that's generally.
So if it's maybe your first one, maybe like you'd be doing well if you got it completed in a year.
You'd be doing okay. Aye, you'd be all right. You know, you'd be doing okay. You know, but as I say, if your skill set's not the same as mine, you really need to be finding the land cheap.
Yeah.
Find the land cheap. You know, get a decent team. You know, I was talking to the first tier lender the other day. He says most developers work on a 15% margin. That's what professional guys are working on. You know,
okay.
You know, we're doing smaller projects, and I can bring my skill set to it. So effectively, I'm getting a percentage and a wage.
But up to now, you haven't gone down the route of bank lending.
No, not yet. But what they're saying is they're telling me go away and find a plot of land with 3 on it and come back to us.
You need to scale up now.
You need to scale. You know, and then you say, do you want to? You know,
because at the moment you've just been building you've been building single houses. You're on number 3 now.
Yes,
in the sort of similar area.
You're going to be in your comfort zone in this third one.
Is it getting any easier?
Yes, I'm no worried as much about that now. You know, it's like I'm getting to the third one. I'm not losing any sleep over this. It's time to move on again. You know,
and obviously the market's helped you as well, because I know you said you sold the first one too cheap. Was that during COVID or after?
No, it was after. It was just coming out of COVID. Really, it was just coming out. I would be beginning of 21. So the market was quite good, but I still took. What I should have really done was sat down. What I do now is I sit down and go through all the houses in the local area that are similar. even if they're no new builds, go through and I break it down into square meterage price, and I say, what are these houses worth per square metre? So especially with the new builds, I can tell you now that most new builds, doesn't matter what it is, but bungalows that demand a premium are usually, the cheapest you'll find is about 1,900, and that's really, and I know in a good part of town, most of them are really between 2.1 and 2.7. 2.7's maybe pushing more through towards Edinburgh. But
see, this is where I find the development stuff fucked now, because you get a QS or you get a builder to come in and quote you for an extension on a new builder saying $2,500 a square metre.
Aye.
But when you look at it, I do the same as you, look at the numbers, I'm going, you can't even buy it for that. So if you can't sell it for that, how the fuck can you build it, buy the land, and make a profit margin for that?
Aye. So you have to be able to build it cheap. You know,
build it cheap, which is your skill set, or get the land cheaper. But most landowners are going to go and take a skin on their land.
People are asking really unreasonable prices for land now. And you see plots all the time at 150 grand, and you go, that's just not going to work, man. That's
with planning permission, or
but sometimes with, and you go,
Did you buy yours with planning permission?
All of them I've bought with planning. It's just been straightforward. Obviously you're paying a bit of premium for that. But if the numbers add up, the numbers add up. Yeah.
So that allows you to get things moving quicker as well.
You would think.
But you still need to. So it's outline plan permission.
No, it's usually full. It can be full plan, but
then you still need to go and submit.
I've always changed what it said planning for. So whether it's been maybe planned for a 3-bed, and I say
make your design.
I need it to be a 4-bed because you're going to get 50 grand more for a 4-bed than you do for a 3. So and it gets a wee bit awkward sometimes. You're dealing with people and you say, look, I'm going to buy it off you and you agree a price, and you say, but I need to get the change of planning. This has happened twice. I need to get the change of planning, and that can take time, and people get impatient and go, oh, come on, wait a minute.
You're the rems of the plan,
and that would be a condition of the sale.
It's just a gentleman's agreement. We will buy it, and especially this last one, we said, look, we'll buy this for what you're wanting. I said, but we've got to go and do a wee bit of investigation first. You've got to drill into the ground. We've got to get plans submitted, and we nearly lost that one. That one nearly fell through.
Was that for the site investigation?
It was site investigation. To do that, we were 12 grand in, and I thought at one point we came very close to that deal falling through. The people who interfered. What do you say to them? Do you say, don't? They're phoning planning and trying to be smart about it, and I'm like, don't. It was just lucky they phoned. They were really lucky. They just phoned the people that we knew in the planning. My architect really came a blinder with that one. It was just a put my power team really saw me through that. That's another thing is you really need to have, is you really need to build up a good power team.
So you who's like architect,
yes.
like solicitor,
planning consultant.
Yes. Yep.
Planning consultant.
Well, I've not really. Well, I do have a friend that's a planning consultant. Hopefully, we can give him some work someday. But I've not really used them yet. But I've got that in my arsenal if it's there,
if it's needed.
But really, my architect and my lawyer is the two main guys and girls that are really helped me through it. I'll say yes. I'll say yes in case he's watching. You know what I mean? But but it helps. They all help.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're on to the third one now.
Yeah, we're kind of.
What problems are you facing this one?
Well, first of all, we had gas issues in the ground. This is one of the things we found. We were only building 80 feet away for the last one. Apparently, there's gas in the ground here, but there's no gas in the ground 80 feet the other side. So. Was
that picked up in the site investigation?
Yep.
When you went for the build one?
So you've got to change the way you build the house. Because of that, you've got to put a special membrane in. Underneath it. So
when the gas is leaking up, the membrane catches it.
It's actually I don't know why, but it's actually a heavy gas. It goes down the way.
Right.
But they say, but you've got.
You still need the membrane.
I know. Yeah, you still need the membrane.
I would rather hit oil than gas.
You get things like before water tables can be a bit of a pain, but this time we didn't have that, so there's still sorts of problems. Getting out of the ground, once you're out of the ground, the only problems you're going to have after that is maybe supply problems or labour problems, or weather.
Or your back.
My
slipped a disc.
Slipped a disc.
And you've not been on the tools now for 2 weeks, you said? So
2.5 weeks, which is...
Is that holding things up? Or are you still...
No, do you know what?
It's making you see that you're not necessarily needed, or...
my ego's no want to say yes, but maybe it's time to get my own way a wee bit more on the tool side of things. And,
if it's what you enjoy as well.
I do enjoy it. I like the wee bit of banter with the lads and all that as well. And
are you quite pernickety when it comes to attention to detail?
Yes, I am. But that being said, what I have learned is perfection doesn't exist. And I've chased perfection and tried to please people all my days, and and I think you just have to eventually.
That's the thing that's held me back, especially taking on the staff and all that as well.
Aye.
that mindset of like, always thought, oh, no, I can't like that. I can't let this go. Or I can't give this to somebody to do. Because it just won't be done as good. But it doesn't. You just need to let it go.
I know. I think there's going to be certain elements of the job where I will be the best guy on the job. You know, the guys that are watching this, they'll be like, so it will. You know, but there's if I'm truthful, the boys that are getting on with it are probably a wee bit better at what they're doing than maybe what I am, or certainly. They're doing a great job anyway.
So does that kind of encourage you to then try and, I suppose, develop more skill sets, i.e. talking to the Bank of Scotland to get funding for more sites that they benefit as well?
I think so.
Finding sites without planning permission.
Yes, I think that's maybe my time could maybe be better spent. I could project manage a job, jump in occasionally, you know, get the tool belt on and get going, you know. But aye.
So see, for obviously
find the deals, find the money.
These projects are great. Do you know what I mean? And if you're making 100k at a time or whatever, fantastic. But obviously we know that they can be held up, they can take time, they can come and, you know, go. They're not, it's not like a constant flow that you've got. So how do you make that into a kind of almost like a sustainable business where you've got it working for you and you've got the cash flow working as well? What's your plan for?
I do buy-to-lets in between.
Right.
I try and stack a buy-to-let for keep me going in between projects. So I've been doing that.
And you talked about the commercial.
I've been doing that. You know,
what's your plans for commercial?
Well, what the three what can I look at is there's three numbers I look at is cash flow, cash pots, and net worth. You know, what I try and do is build up the cash pots so we can move that into the net worth, which has been quite handy opening the SaaS and doing things in the SaaS.
Okay.
So we've got the SaaS up and running now, and we started doing some interesting things in the SaaS. You know, so you're moving that there, and then what we really want to do is move money from the new builds into the SaaS, and then we would really like to maybe own a property in the SaaS, but rent it to your operational company and do whether we can find a building and chop it into different kind of units. Maybe not quite a CMO kind of thing, but maybe kind of just rental units or, you know, 1,000, 2,000 square feet or kind of things. Do something like that, or find a bit of land and build some units. That kind of thing, so we can have money in but still getting some cash flow. We really need to concentrate more on the cash flow over the next couple of years. Cash flow is a bit too low. You know, we're just treading water there. We need to kind of we're not going to get the Porsche with the you know.
Are you into cars?
I was actually away a wee Porsche run at the weekend. I thought I might have bumped into you there, but my mates just picked up a nice wee toy, so I was away with him, and it was quite nice.
Sorry guys, that's out of time now.
Let's talk about that. 58 minutes into this episode. Nick's happy.
That was a funny post. He put a post on LinkedIn, wasn't it? You were complaining about this Porsche service, and
I was trying to get. I knew I would either get blacklisted or I'm going to get fast tracked.
How did it turn out? You don't know yet.
I think they're probably blacklisted.
So it was. Just explain to listeners again.
I just had fucking grief with the cars I've got it, but I've always wanted a GT3 and I've always wanted a manual one. The bucket seats in my club. To find the spec, I've never bought a brand new car. The kind of spec that I'd want, it'd have to be brand new and spec it. But during COVID, folk were making like they're getting them at spec at 140, 150, and then selling them with 400 miles in it for 250 grand. And I'm like, as an investor in a fucking somebody that loves cars, this is my perfect dream business. Like buying a car I get to use and then I get to make some money. This is phenomenal. So I almost kind of came like and like, but little bit I know, you have to buy about 10 cars from Porsche before you even get on this list. Like this is you're only a special customer, and I'm thinking, okay, I know business. Like it's all relationships. If I scratch the right back and help them out, I'll get the fast track. Even when I was buying my first one, the guy they were refusing me finance until I proved there was a high net worth individual, and the guy said to me, "Well, what can you prove?" And I said, "I'll send you my portfolio schedule." And he's like, "What's that?" I was like, "Property portfolio." And I sent him the portfolio schedule in Aberdeen, and he just looked at it like, "How the fuck have you got the properties in Aberdeen?" He goes, "I'll teach you. I will get you your first 10 if you get me a GT3." And he was like, "Oh, I can't do that." So I tried all the tricks, but what happens is you end up just putting up with the shit because you're like, I didn't want to complain. I'm being shafted on this. This is should have been in warranty, and it wasn't fixed. And loads of issues. Like I had the fucking wheel almost fall off 3 weeks after buying the thing, and you kind of almost suck it up because you're like, I don't want to piss them off. I'll keep the relationship. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to go out and put a poster there and see that, because I heard someone complained, and all of a sudden it's getting GT3 RS. So I was like, right, I'm either going to complain and get blacklisted, or I'm going to complain and get moved up and go, okay, we'll sort you out, shut the fuck up. So I think it's probably getting me blacklisted.
I've always wondered that, right? I'm not into cars, but my wee boy and all that, we always go past it. We don't live far from like the Ferrari. There's Ferrari, there's fucking Porsche, there's all that down at Braehead, down at Hillington there. So we always drive past there, and he's like, Dad, look at that. I'm not even interested in me. Oh, aye, son, that looks amazing. Look at that.
Yellow one.
Aye. So, but I've often wondered, can anybody go and walk into the showroom, or do you need is it by appointment? What sort of like stare do you get, or what kind of atmosphere is it when you go in?
Oh, it's fine for the standard cars. Like if you want a limited edition or a special one, you have to be on a list.
It's very tight. I would be saying. That's interesting. But I could they're not gonna like. You can ask me to send the bank statement and like that for what a test drive in. Like,
no, nothing like that. No, it was just when I went to go and buy it. I was like, "Oh, I'll finance this one," and they were like, "It was basically like, have you got the affordability with your wages?" And I was like, "No, don't take PAYE at that level. You have to prove you're a high net worth individual." And it was like, dismiss me. Well, I'll send you the portfolio schedule. So it was one of those fucking. That was the only bit that was a bit wanky. Apart from that. Fine, really
your dream car, Ian?
Dream car, I'm a wee bit of a Lotus fanboy, to be honest. I used to have a Lotus.
I drove one of the new ones at Hamilton.
The Mira?
Aye.
That's one of my list of things. I better not see that the missus watching this, but
manual, driver's car.
V6. Back in, but I did a lot of motorsport for pretty much a decade. So I did that, race cars for a long time. I was quite heavily into that for quite a while.
So that's going to come back when you get these next big sites with the...
Nah, kind of my testosterone levels have dropped a wee bit as I'm getting older.
So you can fix that.
I can still make it go, but it's I might treat myself a wee toy eventually. That's maybe on the bucket list of the rewards.
Aye, quite right, man. You work hard enough for it anyway.
Aye.
So great to have you on.
That's great being here.
Really appreciate the chat. It's been really good.
Thanks for sharing. Where can people... we've had really good feedback, by the way, from guests coming on and people reaching out and connecting.
Right.
So where can people try and
I'm pretty low on socials. Probably the easiest place to get me is get your arse along to the Scottish Property Podcast.
You're a regular. I was going to say, and we appreciate you being there.
But pretty much I'm on all the social kind of things, but I can leave my email. Email is the best place to get something old fashioned these days, but that's the way to get me.
You might be getting opportunities here. So what is your email?
Opportunity, a tradesman that likes email. Fuck
Lindsay, so it's the easiest one to get me on is Lindsay, LINDSAY _joinery@yahoo.co.uk. You'll definitely get me there.
Brilliant.
One last question, because I think in your position, I think of my brother and a lot of guys I grew up with, because we're all with trades background. What bit of advice would you give the guys that are maybe in their 20s, 30s, 40s that are on the tools, they don't see an end to that, and they're looking at, I couldn't build my own houses, or I couldn't do it. What advice would you give them?
Get a red band. Have a word with yourself.
Send Ian an email, we'll sort you out.
Change your words for I can't to how can. Change your way your brain thinks. Turn your brain 180 degrees, and just think, do away with I can't and say how can. If you use those words,
you'll start finding a way.
You must say that as well. People coming on the courses and education stuff that you do, it's a lot of mindset stuff as well.
I 100% agree with that. I'm just thinking like my brother. I'm going to try and get my brother to start contracting out my work, because it's something that as I'm growing in business, I don't want to be project managing the sites, and I feel like I'm putting myself off doing the stuff I'd enjoy doing. So I'm like, I can't bother with that shit anymore. My brother's good at it. He still is. Dabbles in the tools. He's still a joiner. And he uses a lot of my guys, my team as well. So I'm like, why not just go and contract it? But I know that it'd be something when you kind of talk about the opportunities you working with the guys at Brightstone. Like, there's an opportunity for for a good team inside the community that's trustworthy, reliable, that can do the finish and work with them. And I've said that to them 10 times. So I thought there'd be quite a lot of listeners like that. They're probably listening, going, "Fucking how can I?"
Yeah, I don't know. It's just hard work and graft is the real answer, to be honest. It's just
always is.
27 years of grind.
People want to hear, but
it's not going to sell you. That's the unsexy answer, but it's the truth.
That's it.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks so much, man.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Ian.
Brilliant.
Cheers.